public apology. It was officially not Queen of the South that completed one of the biggest Scottish Cup victories in history. So I want to take this opportunity to apologise to absolutely fucking nobody. You're still short. Queen of the South, Queen of the Park, who gives a fuck? But this week, we were temporarily 16 points clear until those pesky rascals pulled it back. Hart scoring 2 own goals, shock. And middle of the road for yous, not so good, not so shit. Play the intro.
Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the Football Beat Podcast, episode 20 of season 4. My name is Fennan, and joining alongside me, the best co-host you could ever ask for, and a man who also does the best Gattuso impression you'll ever hear. Mayhem, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I had to get something in so that the comments didn't absolutely spiral out of control on me. I'm good, mate.
Had to own it a little bit.
Best co-host, unless you're talking about Queen's Park, then absolutely shit. But yeah, mate, I'm good. Obviously buoyant after another domestic dominant victory, and a little bit glum about obviously the Champions League, and a little bit apprehensive.
Yeah.
About what's to come tomorrow night as we record. But overall, yeah, I'm happy.
It's comes Monday, around quickly as well. Really does.
It does, mate, and you know, I haven't even got to scramble and try and find a legal stream, because we're on Prime.
Oh,
so very lovely. Get to see that game play out in high definition, which could be good, could be shit. Who knows?
Well, I think you've really sort of set the tone as to where we'll start off tonight, as you were in European Champions League action last week at Paradise. The big crunch game of Bayern Munich, a game that was without a doubt an emotional roller coaster, but didn't really provide the right outcome. We really thought in the opening first minute we were in dreamland until the lino had to spoil the party a little bit. But rightfully given, the winds changed. Bayern were on the front foot. A couple of strong saves from Kasper Schmeichel. And then just right before the end of the first half, Michael Olise and Harry Kane strike on either side of each half. But take it away, man. Share your thoughts. What were your opinions on the game?
It's difficult because there's an expectation that you grow up with, and I was fortunate enough to kind of be at my eyes opened widest to the adventures of Celtic through the Martin O'Neill eras and Henrik Larsson, and going all the way to Seville, and then not so much after that. So getting to the knockout stages, the playoff, whatever, it's an achievement, and it's one the club's been striving for. You want to be in the second leg, but yeah, I just kind of felt that we were very timid in the first half, and paid them a lot of respect. And fair enough, they're a massive team, but not a team without frailties, which I think we saw towards the end of the game. I think, also that coincided with them going 2-0 up, and they took their foot off the gas a wee bit and realised this was a two-legged tie, and they wanted to manage the game. They didn't have to go, gun-ho to try and finish it on the night. So that played into our hands a wee bit. But yeah, I don't think we pressed awfully well in the first half. And at times when we did kind of get that press right, I think it kind of highlighted sort of how poor the press had been. And just allowing them to sort of pop it in between us and, get real big players on the ball. You like to Joshua Kimmich's and, Musiala's, and obviously Harry Kane was dropping deep. So yeah, it was disappointing. But you think, all right, we've kind of seen the first half out. Just get through these last few minutes, get back, have a retalk, have a reshuffle, and then a long diagonal ball that Elise takes down. Taylor kicks it sort of onto him, and it ricochets for him, and the finish is
It's
unbelievable.
a great finish, really great finish.
Unbelievable. I didn't know Michael Elise had that kind of finish in his locker. To be honest, that was something else. So, yeah, obviously, as the cliche goes, it's a poor time to concede. And then we come out in the second half, and I'm sure the message was keep it tight, stick to it, don't concede anything sloppy, and just to concede off of a set piece. I mean, Harry Kane stand at the back post unmarked,
Yeah,
slaps it in, and the worry then is right now they're 2-0 up. Are we just going to get scudded here? We didn't. I think going 2-0 down give us a bit of freedom. We started to press better. We started to move the ball, and in the latter stages of the game, we showed that we could hurt them. And that beautiful blonde Japanese magician pops up in the middle, and he gets us back in the game and gives us, the slimmest of slimmest shots because of our record away from home and because of their record at home. It's just an incredibly tall order. And we're going to have to go there and press better and defend better and be ferocious on the counter attack. So, and I think we understood that because obviously the likes of Maeda and Kuhn were rested for the game against Dundee United. Arnie Engels was rested. Johnson was rested. Taylor was rested a wee bit. They all come on, barring Johnson. They all entered the field against Dundee United, but they were rested from the start. So I think we kind of understand who's going to be starting out there. So yeah, the first sort of 65 minutes, not great, and then we finished strongly, and on a different day maybe we could have pinched something. And
yeah. On another day, Alistair Johnson rifles the roof of the net
yeah, if it
towards the
wasn't
end. Yeah,
if it wasn't Manuel Neuer, you know what I mean.
yeah,
And on another day we maybe get a penalty because these UEFA competitions. I think if you could have asked 10 refs and 5 of them would have give that as a penalty and 5 wouldn't have because of the fact that the studs. Okay, he kicks the ball, but his studs then
yeah.
land on
Gets the
Arnie
ball
Engels'
first, but
ankle.
then the studs. Yeah,
So yeah, things just didn't quite go for us in some ways, and but I thought the players that come on did well. I thought Jota come on and did decent in that game. I thought Yang had probably his best night in a Celtic shirt, which was I was absolutely berating the boy, and
yeah.
then I thought,
It looked
and then
good
I
when he
thought,
came on.
and then I thought he had scored, and I quickly, as fickle as fans can be, I quickly jumped to say he was amazing. And then I realised it was me, and I went back to calling him shit.
Yeah,
So look, it's gonna be extremely tough, but that's what the Champions League is, and all we can do is go over there and try and play more like we did at the end. And again, we've got that freedom. If they beat us 3-0 and we play and we press and they pick us off, then all right, fair enough. It's not a great result, but at least we've gone there and played our game. Let's not get beat 3-0 and we're sitting back and
yeah. No, of course.
defending. So yeah, that was obviously disappointing with a wee bit of glimmer of hope in it, but ultimately, our bread and butter and the stuff that matters is making sure that we take care of domestic football. And back home, Dundee United in town again after I think they were here like a month ago, and there was a few changes. Luke McGowan come in, Jeffrey Schlupp started his first game,
Yeah.
Ralston was in, and then obviously up top we had Yang, we had Jota, Adam Eder retained his place, so there was a few changes in there, and yeah, I think
3 really good goals as well.
in the first half we were a lot. It was a better performance in the first half, especially Jota was electric in the first half. I thought some of the crosses he put one in that Adam Eder got two, and keeper doesn't know much about it, just hits him either side of him, and he's got another assist, and then he obviously he scores his goal, cutting in beautifully and bending it into the far corner. So he's looking like he's starting to build up that strength and that fitness, which is obviously fantastic news for us. Yeah, Adamida scores a stunner as well just
Brilliant
before he
goal.
comes off.
Brilliant goal.
Which is nice. Obviously, like I said, when we let Kyogo go, he really had to step up, and I think he has so far. Obviously, there's still, we're only mid to late February, so he's got to keep it going and he's got to start to deliver and score in these big games. I don't think he'll be judged on tomorrow night, but we've still got to play 2 more derbies. We're going to have the latter stages of the Scottish Cup, and we're getting very close now to the split. So there's going to be some big games, and he's got to be that vocal point and take his opportunities. I think he's on 13 goals in all competitions for the season. I think if he gets up to 20 goals for the season in his first full season with us, understanding the pressure and what it's like to come up here full time and the expectation, I think it's a decent return.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
it'll prove a lot of critics wrong for sure.
yeah,
There's a fair few, as you've expressed over the last couple of weeks.
yeah, and look, there's no doubt in the summer we'll be looking for another striker. We were looking in the January window and we didn't get that done. But yeah, I've got a lot of time for Adam, and it's like I said, I think people that want to be here and people that love the club, they're they're a very small contingency. The likes of Luke McCowan, the likes of Callum McGregor, Adam Eder, Jota, that's now back. Not everyone's going to be like that. So you've got to really revel that these players want to be here and build that ethos and build the team around them. And yeah, it was a potential banana skin. I think Dundee United haven't been in great form, but they've had a fantastic season so far under Jim Goodwin. So we had to make sure that we were professional and clinical, and that was echoed so much by the fact that first goal scorer was Callum McGregor, taking the ball in a tight area, dazzling past a few and rifling it in the bottom corner, setting the tone. And I can remember, I still think we're a few years out, but I can remember when we understood that Scott Brown was starting to get, towards the latter stages, and you really thought, how are we going to keep the standards that he's set? And I think a lot of people will already be starting. Not that it's anywhere. He's obviously retired from international football, Callum, so he can prolong his playing career. So I think we're probably 3-4 years away from us having that conversation. But you do wonder how is that we're going to replicate that. Callum McGregor had been in the team for so long and studied under Scott Brown. Maybe Luke McCowan is that natural person to take over. As he builds into this team and plays more minutes and plays more games, maybe that's the natural progression. But he's going to be an incredibly hard act to follow. Scott was in so many ways for his toughness and his bravery and his tactical play, but Callum's been on a different level, and he could easily have played down south and probably had a far more comfortable life post-retirement and had a far bigger wage packet, so he's stayed, and he's been a revelation. And I imagine coming the end of his career, he could be going down as one. Well, he's already very close, but he could end up being one of the most decorated Celtic player that has ever been. He deserves it. He's just been incredible, and since he's got the armband, different levels. And this season, I think that's his 8th goal this season, and the one he scored.
Like he's got more.
Yeah, he obviously had that flurry at the start of the season, and I think
Yeah.
the one he scored on the weekend was probably his worst. There's been some absolute pearlers in there.
Imagine that.
I know. So yeah, buzzing from long may it continue, and I just think domestically, the level that we maintain, there is no one that can live with us. We can have an off day, at Ibrox, okay, but there isn't another team in Scotland that is anywhere near us. And if we turn up and play, then we win. End of story. So, yeah, comfortable now. Once you get in this really weird tick over phase where you kind of like count the games.
Yeah.
This is what happened. So like you go, all right, we've gone 16 points clear here, and if they fuck up, of course, no, they won't fuck up. They're at the Diets. They're just going to score 2-1 goals and let them win. So right next week, if we and you start to work out, how early can we potentially win it, and then how long can we laugh at them until August? So that'll be nice.
You know what, speaking on Callum McGregor, I mean, what is he now? 31? 31, 32?
Yeah, I think he's 31. I think.
31. How many more seasons do you give him at this level, the way he's playing right
Well,
now?
I think like he's a player that is so professional and looks after his body and plays the game. It's not like there's he at the moment he still puts in big outputs, but he could probably tone that down and play more. He kind of plays the pivot but gets up really high. He could probably sit back and play more of a pivot as he obviously gets to be a bit older. So I think there's no reason why you know he can't still be captain in 3-4 years time, hitting 34, 35. And hopefully by that time, like I said, we've bedded someone in that's gonna take over that mantra, and we're confident in them coming in and stepping into those boots, because they'll be big ones to fill. But yeah, I think certainly domestically, whether or not the European games is a step too far, who knows, with the way that the game moves these days. But certainly domestically, I think we could easily see Callum sitting at the bottom of the pivot for 4 more years.
Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, he's that sort of influential figure who can still play a big part off the pitch as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but I would imagine that he might want to stay around. We thought the same about Scott, but obviously he left at the end of that COVID season and went to Aberdeen, which was a bit of a shame. If there'd been a better structure in place, he's obviously at United, I think, now. So would he have gone into the back room? But you just can't buy that level of understanding. And people say it all the time, and it gets to be a bit laughed at now, because obviously it was used around Neil Lennon when he come in, and he knows the city and he knows the club and all this kind of carry on. But having that experience and understanding of the club and the standards is massive. And even if a manager goes, you see the likes of John Kennedy that's remained and keeps those standards, and I think Callum would just add to that, making sure that training is at a level, and the players understand their responsibility. So hopefully, he's still involved in the club, and I'm sure he will be in some capacity.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think he should as well. I really hope he does. But huge game tomorrow night, and again going to the Allianz, definitely a fortress it will be. Who would you ideally start in that game?
Ideally, 24-year-old Henrik Larsson. No, look, I think that the team more or less picks itself, to be honest. It's going to be Casper, it's going to be Alistair Johnson, it's going to be Cameron Carter-Vickers next to Trusty. The fact that Jeffrey Schlupp has played against Dundee United, it will be Greg Taylor. I don't know if I agree with that. Greg's been a fantastic servant, and I wish he would sign a contract. I'm someone that thinks that Greg Taylor has a future at Celtic. Maybe he doesn't, because obviously we know KT's back in the summer. He signed the pre-contract. That's all been announced, so he's definitely coming back. Maybe Greg doesn't want to. What is Greg now? 27 odd. Probably in his prime. Doesn't want to be back up. But I think he's been a great servant. I just think the scary. So for the Bayern's first goal, Greg Taylor is a yard deeper than Alistair Johnson, the rest of the defence, and I think that's because he's petrified of Elise's pace.
Yeah,
I don't think Elise is rapid. He's a fantastic ball player and he's very skillful, and obviously he's got a finish on him, but I don't think he's rapid. So the fact that he's had to offset and step back and play him on side because he's scared of his pace, I think that there's an area there that Jeffrey Schlupp would do better. He just knows him as well. They would have been together at Palace. He would have been up against him loads of times in training. I think there's a big argument that Jeffrey Schlupp is a far better option going away from home, but it's about also the guy to your right and the guy in front of you trusting you, and that's something that's built up over time. So I think you'll go Greg Taylor.
Good call to make, though.
I would personally go Schlupp, and that's only because I think
The
that
familiarity
yeah,
between them both, yeah.
he'll just be more comfortable with Michael Elise coming at him. He would have been in that position a load more times, and then around the 60-65 minute, bring on Greg to deal with whoever they bring off the bench. Whether it be Gnabry or Coman. I don't think that either of them are at Elise's level, so it gets a wee bit easier. So I think we could drop off for that. And then obviously you'll have Callum. He'll play Rio Hatate because we don't really have another option there at the moment. I think Bernardo's still injured, so Rio will have to play, and he'll play Engels, and then the front three, I imagine, will be Maeda, Ida, and Kuhn. And I think there's an argument to go with Maeda through the middle, but I also think probably what got us that success later on in the game was the defence was a wee bit tired when Maeda was going in behind. So, yeah, play Adamida up top,
Yeah.
bring it down, bring people in, give the defenders a real tough night. So, if we are in the game with 20 minutes to go, Maeda can go through the middle, Jota can come in off the left, and we can really try and hurt them in behind. But yeah, I think that the front three will be Adamida, Daisy Maeda, and Nicholas Kuhn, and pretty much as good as we can put out at the moment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it almost feels very difficult to look past this game tomorrow night when we go back to domestic action next Saturday. When again, it's a huge game, and early kickoff on Saturday against Hibs, a team that have climbed their way out of trouble over the last couple of months.
Yeah, David Gray's done a fantastic job over the last few months. Winning an Edinburgh Derby and picking up great wins all over the place, progressing to the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup. So there's a real feel-good factor around Hibs, and yeah, Easter Road trips are always a bit nervy, especially with Brendan in
Yeah,
charge. It's not a ground that he goes to and does brilliant at. So yeah, I think we'll have to be on it. Obviously, and we're going to be playing in a real high intensity game, and then we're on the early kickoff, playing at a really difficult venue. So I'm sure Hibs will be bang up for it, and they'll look to take advantage of that. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of squad rotation, but the squad depth is fantastic. Really, again, there's not massive drop offs apart from the right side. I think Ralston had a decent game in the weekend. I still think him to Alistair Johnston's a massive drop off.
yeah,
Yang to
100%.
Kuhn is a massive drop off. Um, whoever plays next to Carter Vickers, I think Trusty is slightly better than Scales, but that could just because he's played more recently, and I've kind of forgot Liam Scales a little bit. But again, over the last couple of seasons, Liam Scales has proved he's more than capable to go to Easter Road and dig out a result. And then whether it be Taylor or Schlupp, I don't think again there's much between them. Jota had a fantastic game on the weekend. I think at the moment, Daisy Maeda is probably the best player in the Celtic team. I think he'll win Player of the Year unless
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
unless he does absolutely nothing for the last few months. Um, and then obviously Yang Kuhn has a big drop off there, and then obviously we only have one striker. We guess we have John Joe Kenny as well, but we haven't seen much of
He
him.
still counts. He still counts.
So yeah, I think there'll be rotation. But again, it's about ticking these games off now. That'll be a place that they'll have all five of their fingers crossed that we can go there and Hibs can get something off us and it can reignite a title fight. So with every game that we just dispatch very efficiently, then that leaves us in a position where we're just killing their hopes, and that's what it's about now, ticking these games off, rolling it over. There's a very good chance, come Tuesday night that we no longer have any involvement in European competition. So, it's been fun. We've made a shit ton of money from it as well for
Yeah,
winning games and getting there. And look, if we're still in the Champions League post Tuesday night, then what a great result it would have been. But it also, on the flip side, we made it through that league phase. That's a building block. Let's go wrap up our 55 league title. Let's try and win another domestic treble. KT's in the summer. Refresh the squad, make it stronger, and then go again. And hopefully next year there isn't fucking Bayern Munich floating in the playoff round.
Like, of all teams. I mean, if you were to beat Bayern Munich tomorrow night, do you know who would be the next draw if Celtic were to progress?
Atletico Madrid or
God.
Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, see, it doesn't get any easier, does it?
That's
And
the
that's the
Champions
case of
League.
the Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think when we looked at the fixtures, we went, oh, this is a good chance to get out of
Yeah.
this league phase, and we did. And you've seen some of the other teams. I mean, look at RB Leipzig's games. I mean, they had to play us, and they got beat. Liverpool, City, I think it was Juventus as well.
Yeah.
Like, if that comes out on the fixture list for us, we go, oh fuck. So the supercomputer's been real nice. We had an opportunity. Yeah, I think barring the Dortmund result, we've been involved in every game. We've been in touch. We've applied ourselves really well. We've won a good amount of games. Obviously, all of them being at home, but we've really utilised that. We drew with Club Bruges, who won in their playoff game again.
Zagreb away you drew to as well.
Yeah, we should have. They were there for the taking. It was a piss poor performance way at Zagreb, but Club Bruges, I think, did they beat AC Milan?
I think so. No, Club Brugge, I remember we were sat here and we are thinking, yeah, we definitely underestimated them because of how well they did last year.
Yeah, but look, and they beat Villa. I think they drew with Arsenal or something. Was that it? I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. But they've gone and they've won their playoff game. So look, they were a really good team. We drew with them at home. Obviously drew with Atalanta. We know Atalanta's strengths, and that was a really good point. And then we were competitive down in Birmingham after being 2-0 down, and obviously in the end we end up losing that game 4-2, and could have been more. Casper had a really good night, but yeah, I think we've been competitive. We've certainly, like I said, outside of the Dortmund game, we haven't been embarrassed, and I think we've proven some people wrong. But we have to now go into the summer. You can't bring in a player like KT who's still in his prime. Like, he's 27 years old. You're bringing back a prime KT. Okay, he's got chocolate hips, so don't put him in the sun; they'll melt. But this guy comes in and straight away is the best left back in Scotland by an absolute mile. Getting fit, getting firing, best left back in Scotland. Yeah. Piece of piss. Could have been Arsenal captain if Mikel Arteta wasn't a Hun. So,
not wrong.
So the fact he's coming back. Cameron Carter-Vickers could easily play down south. Yes, he didn't get great time at Spurs, but could easily go down there and do a job. Bayer Leverkusen were interested in him.
Getting the Spurs team now, though, wouldn't he?
Well, probably. So we'll have to try and keep hold of him. Obviously, Austin Trusty's going to be here. Alistair Johnson, there'll be massive interest for him in the summer, just because of what he's done internationally and how he's been recognised. So, can we keep hold of him? I think probably Ray Hatate will leave in the summer, and I don't think we'll be too adverse to that. It won't be huge money, maybe about £8 to £10 million. And then, can we keep hold of Nicholas Kuhn? Jota's obviously back. Maeda's had a fantastic season. Adam Eda's still going to be here. The likes of Luke McCown's still going to be here. Liam Scales, Casper signed for another year. So there's a real nucleus there, right?
Yeah.
So let's keep the team together. We don't need to sell, right? Because of the money that we've just kind of made and the money we're going to make from season tickets and the money for winning the league. Make sure we get back into the Champions League, because I think we'll have to qualify next year. And then, put our money where our mouth is. Go and strengthen, and bring in a striker. That's grand. Bring in a box-to-box midfielder next to sort of Bernardo. That's going to be really, athletic and get up and down and have that creativity, but we're going to have to spend in the region. People get on Arnie Engels' back because he was £11 million and he hasn't come and lit it up. We're going to have to spend in that kind of region. I think the fellow that we're linked with from Belgium is going to be around about 10 million, and then if we want to go and get a midfielder, I think we'll be in and around that region again. So we've got to go and spend that money to build. But I think moving to the summer, that'll be it. We'll have sort of 2-3 areas that we really want to pin down and strengthen. And I think, a midfielder will be one, and then a striker will be the other. And then, we kind of see how we are, and there's potential that we know right wing's an issue if we don't have Nicholas Kuhn. So.
But especially where he's been heavily linked with a move away. He was in January, and so it's bound to happen that he'll draw interest when the summer comes round. But I think there's more than a few selling points right now at the club in terms of the figures you got there. Brendan Rodgers, who's obviously managed at the highest level, and by all means, I think this is the perfect stepping stone for Celtic to really push on and become more competitive in Europe and continue to solidify their place domestically.
We've said this a few times, haven't we?
Yeah.
So hopefully we do it, but we have said this a few times. But
we have, yeah.
Yes, let's put a pin in it there. All things rosy up in Glasgow, and let's talk a little bit about the Bluebirds. I watched the game. Indifferent performance, I think.
The Saturday one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the derby against that Tin Pot club.
Yeah.
It was an indifferent performance. I think these were sort of decent enough in the first half without, ever really looking overly threatening, and then they scored and it kind of changed and things weren't really clicking, and then towards the latter end, obviously you score, pressure's building. Aaron Ramsey's getting involved in places where he should be getting involved, not fucking 60 yards from goal, sort of that 25-yard, 20-yard area, slots a lovely ball through to Kian Ashford, and the big man sign from Sweden gets on the end to salvage a point. I think as the cliche ricocheted around the ground, it'll be a big point, could be a very important point because it stops the likes of Hull City gaining on you. Obviously Plymouth got beat, so you've gone a little bit loot and got beat, so you moved a little bit further away from them. So probably I would imagine for you it was a little bit frustrating, but in the cold light of day, the weekend point gained. No,
it's a shame to lose 1-1. I mean, that's the impression I've got off the fucking Wurzels, that's for sure. Honestly, there's two deciding factors as to whether we stay up, or go down, and that is Riza's team selection and individual errors, because those two have cost us massively in the last two games. Going to Fratton Park last week, Tuesday night, I mean, we went against a side who really, understood the position they were in, and that they had to come out and, on top with 3 points, and that's exactly what they did. They came out the blocks with us. Kian Ashford misplaces a back pass, finds its way through to Bishop, who fires home to give him an early lead, and then an absolute complete barrage of balls coming into the box, us failing to clear our lines. Eventually, one of their corners finds the head of O'Shaughnessy, who heads in, doubles their lead. 5 minutes later, we started to get on the ball a bit more. Renamotor digs a really good ball out to the back post, so Dowda leaps like a salmon, gets on the end of it at the back post to direct it across goal, and it gives us hope to get back into the game. But, I mean, apart from a 5-minute spell after pulling one back, didn't really kick on. It really felt like we were just hoofing the ball forward, and at this point we haven't even got Yousef Salech on, who is our, big man up top. still deputising with Robbo, and obviously Ashford, who's only 2'6" anyway, playing a high ball to him isn't going to work. And so, we just didn't really keep the ball down and play the way we have been. And I feel, like I said, in terms of team selection, I don't know what Omer Riza's thinking of going to a back three and then playing 5 in midfield and 3 of them are holding midfielders. But no creativity in that midfield whatsoever. And I think that costed us massively. Manswerk looked poor. Under-hit passes left, right, and centre. Rulesy put in a good shift, but again, was just it was very hard to pick out an individual who shone in that game. And so we were crying out for changes come Saturday. I really expected Ruben to start after him scoring a brace against Stoke in the Cup. But ultimately, Omer Riza decided to go with 3 holding midfielders, and look how that turned out. Severnside Derby comes around and reverts back to a more familiar 4-2-3-1 formation with only 2 holding midfielders, thankfully. He moved Renamotor up and brought Perry back into the fold. And then we had Ruben starting. And it feels like over that last week, that confidence that Ruben had completely vanished. Because for whatever reason, it felt like every time he got on this ball, opened up his body, had a great opportunity to get a shot on goal, decided to just take a few more extra touches and find himself out onto the flank. And just thinking, just fucking shoot. And that's what that game was. It was just full of half chances. Like, we played okay. I don't think we played badly. But it was just not being able to dictate and control the game and create chances as we would normally do. And then changes happened in the second half. I thought Robbo wasn't getting enough service. He gets a good opportunity right before Bristol's goal. Again, poor man marking from the free kick allows Jason Knight all the space in the world to head in to give him the lead. And then the changes come. Ashford comes on, Rambo comes on, and Salech comes on. And with those three individuals, they were the ones who made the big difference. And managed to spare us a point, luckily. It's hard to be positive right now because I just feel, every game's a cup final at the moment. We're so deep in this dogfight at the moment where you got Luton, who are now rock bottom of the table all of a sudden. Derby in there, Plymouth in there, Portsmouth have climbed their way back up. After beating Oxford United on the weekend, and so every game's vital. We've got to make most of these fixtures coming up before the likes of your Burnleys and your West Broms kick in, and that opportunity doesn't come any better until come this Saturday when we go to Home Park. Tough ground to go to, and of course with their recent heroics in the FA Cup, and I know they lost on the weekend, but I'm sure there'll still be a good buzz around Plymouth right now. And then midweek at home to Hull, and these are 2 massive fixtures that we've got to take full advantage of. And Riza has got to get the team selection on point. I think Salech has done more than enough to be on the team sheet come Saturday. If he doesn't start Ruben, I personally I would drop Robbo back into the number 10 role with Alex Robertson still not fit. Chambers, Manswerk in the holding mid, Alves and Ashford on the wings, O'Dowda left back, and then probably Bagan alongside Gutas in centre back. I think Bagan's probably been one of our more unsung heroes, has come into a position that I don't overly feel comfortable in playing in, mainly because he's it's very resemblant of when we deputised Perry and G at centre back, where he doesn't have that area, that aerial, that power, that strength in the air, and with the Championship being a physical league, I don't know. I just feel like he's one of those players that could easily get caught out. But I must say he's put in a few strong shifts there, and so I wouldn't change that. Renamotor and NG. I mean, I love Perry to bits, but I must say he's been a shadow of the player as he was last season, and Renamotor has kept him out of the side for a reason, and for that reason only, I'd probably still stick with Renamotor. The goalkeeping department, I thought Anik looked very shaky against Portsmouth. I think he looked better in the derby on Saturday, but I think he's got to keep on his toes as well. Ethan Horvath is still more than capable of coming in and putting a performance in and reclaiming that number one spot.
Yeah, I think for this run though, I think Omer Riza's just kind of got to say, right, you're my guy though. Right, so if you are gonna, if it's gonna be Gutas +1, and you're not always sure who that centre back is going to be, and you're going to be chopping and changing partnerships, I think you need a familiarity in the net that's going to manage,
Yeah,
maybe Bacon through, spells in games at times when he's not used to being under the cosh as a centre back. So whether he goes, Ethan, actually to the end of the season, you're my guy, or he says to Anik, you're my guy to the end, I think he needs to make that decision.
yeah,
The cup's the cup. Do whatever the fuck you want in that. But for the league, you're my guy. That's the stability, and then build out from there. And
yeah,
yeah, I think that the frustration with Cardiff is that you just know there's performances in there.
yeah,
So you know that they could go here to home park and get scudded 4-0, and then that West Brom can come around and you could pull out for shock 2-0, and it could be a really fantastic performance. The winger that you brought in from Leicester, was it Alves? He
yeah,
looked really tricky, really dangerous, really direct. So
yeah,
you want to keep his confidence up. I think he could be vital. Maybe lacks a wee bit on the final product, but
yeah.
super direct.
If actually, if there's one player I'd probably consider over anyone in that team sheet I just named, probably El Ghazi over Ashford at the moment. I think just only as a precaution, where Ashford has played 90 minutes for the last 4 games, roughly. But actually, bar the derby, he's played an awful lot of football, and El Ghazi's come back in. You know, there's a player in him still somewhere.
Yeah, like you've got options, and you obviously Willock as well that
Willock as well.
can play
I
wide.
mean, look at these options. Look at these
And
options here, mate.
Kean Ashford, I think, has been fantastic this season.
Yeah,
So there's always that part of you that wants to protect this guy that looks like a real player, but at the same time you want to have your best players on the field.
yeah, yeah,
But you see when he come off the bench in the derby, he was so hungry. And that ball across the Salek was fantastic. And it looks easy, but it isn't. It isn't the easiest thing when you're running at pace to put it in that corridor between the defender,
yeah.
between the keeper. You could easily get it wrong, and the keeper just collects it. So it's a fantastic ball. Um, Aaron Ramsey coming off the bench.
Yeah,
He,
still proves to be a vital part of the squad.
yeah,
Can come on, still make a huge contribution.
I understand at times why he's dropping deep to try and control games, but
Yeah,
he has such an impact
he does. He does.
further up where you just kind of want to say, look, trust them guys to do their job, right? And you get on the ball on the half turn, 40 yards out, and find those balls and cut defences to pieces. Because see, once he got on the ball, he was cutting Bristol City apart.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
you know, um, we know how dogged Plymouth can be. We see that against Liverpool. We also see that when Millwall went there, they got absolutely thumped Millwall. So um, certainly an air of caution down there. But they were brought back to reality a little bit with their trip to Ewood Park. So hopefully, there's a few nerves, and maybe they've one eye on a very big date that's hovering there in the future, and no one will want to be injured and miss the trip to the Etihad, and let them be a little bit timid and capitalise on maybe a wee bit of complacency. Because 3 points there would be huge, and like you said, Hull massive, and then we're at the end of February, and really we said that you needed some wins in this month because next month is very difficult.
It's scary looking at the fixture list. I mean, obviously we got our little honeymoon tie against Villa away on a Friday night, which is a bit different. Can't remember the last time we played on a Friday night. And then March just hits us with like a big dick in the face. Like Burnley at home, Sunderland away, Luton at home, yeah,
Yeah,
Blackburn away, Wednesday at home. So it's a mix. It's a mix. I think the ones that will prove to be very difficult will be Burnley, Sunderland, Sheffield United, West Brom, and maybe Norwich on the last day.
Yeah, even Wednesday, they're just outside the playoffs.
Oh
So
God, yeah, Wednesday have climbed their
yeah,
way back up, haven't they?
they're flying. Luton will be a massive game. Obviously, they're
Yeah.
they're down there with you, and you just got to utilize. You have to take full advantage of those games when they're in and around you, and then hope you, you produce a performance somewhere along that run where you're still picking up points and clawing towards that magical safety target and
Mm.
just keeping your head above the chopping block. So yeah, I think some of the teams that have been dragged into it right now, the likes of Derby and the
Hmm.
likes of Luton, that are just in awful form, and that could be the saving grace. Um,
It could well be. It could well be. But it's 14 cup finals, mate. That's the way.
yeah.
That's the way we got to approach them. And places are up for grabs. I mean, just going through the whole, going through multiple names, and it almost feels like we're sport for choice in each and every position. We've just play. We've got to play our best players. Omer Riza can't afford to experiment with the shape, which evidently backfired against Portsmouth. Just stick to the basics, keep the shape, and just yeah, play the informed individuals
and win.
and win. Fight and win.
That's what they come here for. Analysis like that, just win.
Cutting edge analysis right here on the football booth. Love it. But moving on, was there any more football you watched this weekend, mate?
I took in um, some more football. I did. Um, I managed to watch a good bit of the Liverpool game,
Okay.
and I watched Tottenham United as
Oh
well.
my god, how can we not talk about the fucking Merseyside Derby last week?
That was
Oh, got a bit spicy towards the end, didn't it?
it. Did Curtis Jones getting into it with Decore? That's mate. Why not? It's a derby. Fuck it.
That's the way it should
It's,
be. It's
it's a
nice to see
soft
two Premier
derby,
League
mate.
sides actually,
It is a soft derby, isn't
it
it?
is, I know.
It's one of these weird ones, right? Where there's no doubt Liverpool want to beat them more than they want to beat Villa, but Everton definitely want to beat Liverpool more than Liverpool want to beat them. And Liverpool see United as the big rivalry.
The competitive rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a weird one, wherein the Everton are desperate to beat them and Liverpool are desperate, but the desperation isn't the same. And I think you see that with after Tarkovsky's goal. Obviously they're on the pitch, last ever derby at Goodison, and still was a point. So yeah, fair play. Uh, I wasn't watching that. I was watching us get beat 2-1
Uh,
by Bayern Munich.
priorities, mate. That's what it is. No,
So yeah,
just saw the highlights the next day.
I did see the nonsense. Where he was celebrating in front of the fans. Michael Oliver dishing out cards left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
He's had a bad run, and
He doesn't like firm handshakes. That's what we learnt as well.
he's yeah. It's a bit. It's all a bit fucking Sunday League pish there, isn't it?
That is.
Oh, I felt scared. Shut up, Michael.
He is a nonce, isn't
He hasn't had a good run,
he? No.
and if a player was performing, if we were to compare, if a player was delivering the kind of performances that Michael Oliver was in retrospect, he would be dropped, and he would not be playing. He'd be playing from the bench, or maybe even drop further than that. I think refs should face the same punishment if you're dog shit
If you're
for a
dog
couple of
shit, you
weeks.
get one of these.
Well, yeah, or you get relegated to the championship for a couple of weeks, and someone from the championship comes up, and then there's accountability, and then there's some kind of punishment in regards to it all. Because some of the refereeing performances have been scary. No more so than John Beaton as well.
He
Fucking
always
big
gets an
John.
honourable mention, doesn't he?
Cheating fucker.
But he hasn't been dropped to the Scottish Championship anytime soon, though, has he?
He won't. Nah, of course not. Part of the secret handshake club. Um, yeah, so watched the Liverpool Wolves game. Thought Wolves were unlucky in the end, actually. Liverpool hanging on, and then watched Tottenham United, which for a neutral was actually a really good game. I thought anyway. But it did look like 15th versus 14th or whatever they are.
I can
Like,
imagine. Yeah.
like Tottenham, it was poor. It really it was not good. Yeah, it just not good. Not a good look. I don't think for either team because Man United were setting up awfully. Gary Neville wouldn't shut the fuck up about it in the first half about how they were setting up and Tottenham were getting out easy. But obviously only get the one goal in the second half. It's a bit better from United, but never really looked like scoring. Tottenham get obviously a vital win that they need, courtesy of a James Maddison goal. But yeah, again, like
Brought out the old, what's it? The old dreaded FIFA celebration. Giving it the shush.
it's gotta be careful now. Talking about fucking banning players now for celebrations, fucking
Oh
stupid,
my god, you know how fucking.
utter woke
Won't.
nonsense.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good game to take in as a neutral. I imagine if he was a Spurs fan or United fan, it wouldn't have been an easy watch. And for those two, it's all about the Europa League. And I know that they're first and second favourites, but I'm not even confident that they'll go all the way in that. There's still some decent teams in the Europa League.
Yeah, no, they won't go far. I really don't think they will. No, they're two sides that just look absolutely rotten to the core at the moment.
Yeah, I do. I think Spurs looked better. I think Spence looked decent at left back. Um, Madison looked okay. Kulusevski looked all right. I think Vicario had a decent game, made some good stops.
Oh yeah,
I think
Vicario was back, wasn't
that's a big thing because I don't think they keep a clean sheet if that Kinski or whatever's in there. So Vicario was back, and obviously then Tottenham get a clean sheet. I think that's a massive factor. I think really for Spurs, it's about sort of just bludgeoning through here and probably trying to make sure that Romario and Van Veen are back for the Europa League. Your doggy was on the bench.
he? Yeah, yeah.
So they're starting to get a few players back and starting to get more towards sort of recognisable first team. And if they have that, maybe that puts them in definitely puts them in a better position. Whether or not that translates to results that take them anywhere, who knows? But yeah, two poor teams. I mean, I don't know how long. I know he's come in and I know he's inherited a mess. I just don't know how long as Man United manager you can keep losing. And Almiron just seems to always lose. I don't understand it. Like, there's fixing. Okay, you've got to come in. You've got to fix the culture, and you've got to do this. You've got to do this. Blah, 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 blah. You've also got to win games.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's something we just can't do at the moment.
you have to win football matches. And I'm, sounding very much reminiscent of. I feel like I'm talking, and I feel like I'm fucking Roy Keane here, but it's your job, right?
Should be a character.
You've got to win, and I know that you've laid down this marker, and I'm going to play this way, but you clearly don't have the players for it.
No,
Clearly, do not have the players for it.
no,
So
absolutely not.
yeah, I think it's a scary time for United. I really do because I don't know who they beat.
No,
I don't know who they beat. If it wasn't for an Ahmad superstar show, they would have lost to Southampton, and they are proper shit.
yeah.
So I don't know who they beat. no
Just
one's
recall
afraid.
Anthony, he's doing well at the moment.
No one's afraid of Old Trafford anymore. Everyone goes there and thinks they can get at them. And if it wasn't for an offside goal in the FA Cup, who knows what would have happened in extra time against Leicester? They also fall into the proper shit category.
Leicester.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a worrying, worrying time. The Bruno Fernandes barely in a position to take a fucking shot against Tottenham because he's having to play deep. That's your best player. That's your guy that's going to win you the game.
Yeah, no,
Because it's not
exactly.
going to be fucking Hoyland. It's certainly not going to be Joshua Zirkzee. Fucking Garnacho can't hit a barn door at the moment. So the guy that's going to win you the game, and you're playing him deep.
That's the thing, but I'm sure they're definitely familiar with each other at Sporting Lisbon. I think Amarim is more aware of what he's capable of. Like even when he first came to United, Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I know most of his goals were penalties and other set pieces, but I mean, this guy is there's a top class player in him
Yeah,
who's just being underused.
it's it's frightening. Um, but I said something very similar, to obviously Tottenham's predicament. Come next season, if they don't get European football and Almiron can get in the players, they need about 8 or 9. If he can get in the players and he can start to play in the
I need a
system,
fucking clear out as well.
yeah. But if he can get in the players and he can start to utilise that system that he was utilising at Sporting and he can get the profile of player that he needs, maybe playing Saturday to Saturday is exactly what they need to, fly up the league and put himself, right back in contention for Champions League football. But will he be backed? That's the overarching question. How much is he going to get if he wants to go and sign Gokares from
Yeah,
Sporting? How much is that going to deplete him? Because he needs midfielders, needs centre backs. You know, if he sells Garnacho, who's probably your second best player, I know that he's bang out of form at the moment, but at least he's direct. At least he takes people on. At least he can create moments and scare defenses. If you sell him because he's like pure profiting through the academy or whatever, if you don't then get in the right profile of who the fuck's going to play left, it's a crazy scenario that he's in and that Man United are in at the moment. But if he does manage, it's a big but if he can go out and he can get that profile of player and he can bring him in, then maybe playing Saturday to Saturday will be a blessing and will allow him to kick on and get right back up the league. But everyone's getting stronger. You know what I mean? Like
I think that's the tough aspect of it nowadays. Like all the teams are strengthening every season.
you know
And
what
I
I
know
mean?
we've seen in the past with with Arsenal and Liverpool who have had to make that drop out of European football to rebuild and get someone in the door who can get the right players they need to play their system. And again, not having European competitions to worry about and just focusing on games on a weekly basis to get them back up to where they once were. And yeah, no, United are without a shadow of a doubt in that situation right now. They need a clear out. The owners need to backhammer him, and yeah, because that club right now is a sinking ship.
Yeah,
If you
100%.
got teams like Leicester and Southampton coming to Old Trafford, we'll go, yeah, we can take these lot. Should never be the case.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. And yeah, they need to get rid of a lot of bodies. They need to get,
We fucking beat them on the last day of the season a few years ago.
they need a lot of bodies out, a lot of bodies in, and it's a big job. And because of how poor his form is, I just don't know how long Almiron gets. He'll get to the summer. He'll get to buy players, but I just I don't know how long he'll get because of how bad the run's been here.
Yeah,
You know, I already think he's starting to lose people already. Because of the sort of groundwork that he's laid. But it will be interesting. That's for sure.
yeah, it
But
will.
yeah, look at the likes of Bournemouth and Forest. There seems to be these stories every season. Where these clubs just emerge, and you have
Yeah.
this random team that's fighting. It is no longer the big six. There's Brightons and Fulhams that are floating around. So super hard to go and be consistently in that top four fold. And if you drop off a little bit with City, you're not going to get back in easily, even though they absolutely scudded Newcastle on the weekend, looking a
Yeah.
little bit more like their old self.
Omar
Marmoush,
Marmoush, the Egyptian king.
the Egyptian prince, I think, a
He's
little
the
bit
heir.
more
He's the heir
accurate.
to the throne, is he?
Um,
15-minute hat trick though. It's not bad, is it?
yeah, it was very good. Um, he's obviously been fantastic in the Bundesliga for Frankfurt, and he's come here and scored his first ever senior hat trick. So fair play. They have a big job as well in the week. Obviously, going away to Real Madrid. That will not be easy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, Keane's definitely been treading that game for the last couple of days. So, but it'd be interesting to see how they get on. I mean, we're fairly confident what the outcome will be. Yeah, I was really surprised how quickly they dropped off in that. After they've gone 2-1 up, Real
yeah,
Madrid go and get the equaliser. Then, if there's one position that I am amazed that Pep didn't go out in January to go find, was a fucking right back, because Rico Lewis fucking poor with that third goal.
yeah. I think he gets caught in two minds, and obviously at that level, they're going to capitalise and they're going to punish you. So yeah, I don't know. Once they're back to full strength, will he play probably John Stones or someone at right back?
Yeah.
How he deploys them, I don't know. So we're not that the great man. I think City will get top four.
Yeah, they will. They
Pretty
definitely will.
pretty comfortably, and then I'm sure they'll be back to right at the sharp end come next season. There is something that I did want to run past you.
Okay.
Obviously, we always get to this kind of we talk about Celtic, we talk about Cardiff, and then we kind of waffle a little bit about the
Yeah,
English
yeah.
League.
No, we technically wing it, don't we?
We don't really give a fuck about it. That could change in the next couple of years. You could get promoted, and the Premiership could become very relevant.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And then I actually know what I'm talking about.
I was thinking, what about if obviously we both very avid Football Manager players? What about if we did at the end here a little we do like a series where we play 5 games through the week, and then
Ah, I like that.
we kind of come back. So what I was thinking is we'll do like one of those wheels or a random generator where we'll generate just in England. We won't go international, we'll not go European, but we'll spin for what league we start in, and then we'll kind of do like the bottom, because you don't want to be like a top end team in the league. Then it
No.
becomes piss easy, and we'll spin like the bottom half, and then we'll each get a team, and you have to play like 10 games through the week or whatever, and then we'll come back and update, and we can maybe add in a few more
I
rules to make it a
like
little bit
that.
more difficult.
Yeah, I like that. That's a
Um,
brilliant idea.
and then we can do like a few screenshots, and obviously you at that part you can just throw them up on the screen so people know where we're at if they're watching on YouTube.
Better than
Um,
those shitty fucking tentables, isn't it?
uh,
I'm joking, Stu. I'm joking.
so yeah, we can plan that in for next week, and deciding who it is that we're gonna
Yeah, I'm so down for that.
start with, and that
Yeah.
it could be the Prem, or we could end up cutting about in the National League. Who knows?
Who
But
knows? Who knows? Like, how far down are we going? We going Conference North South, or we going just Vanarama National?
yeah, I'm not fussed. Probably, I think probably National League, and then because it's
We'll
easier.
end up getting like Welling and Dartford or something stupid.
um, and we'll see where we start. So whether, again, if we get like League Two, then we'll just pull up the League Two table as it is right now, and we'll do from like 12th down, and we'll spin 1 to 12.
Yeah. And then each
And
week, as we play these 10 games, I can probably like just put up like screenshots
yeah, I'll screenshot
of our
obviously.
like our schedules in terms of the last 10 games and put them side by side or something.
Yeah, and I guess we can introduce a few rules or whatever. Maybe whoever finishes higher in the league. Obviously, it won't be a network game because I have 3 kids and a little bit hard to get it at the same time. But
You might get a little distracted.
whoever finishes higher up, the other person has to sell their best player or something like that to keep it
Yeah, no, I'd like that.
to keep it a little bit more spicy, and that'll run hopefully down towards well into next season, and then we might eventually get FM26.
Well, I'm to 25.
Yeah, got fucking cancelled, didn't it?
Fucking cancelled, mate.
It's mental. Like to have 6 years that. Well, I think last week or the week before, whenever it was, I think it said 9 years. I think it's been confirmed they had 6 years to get this game in a position that it could be released
I
at the
didn't
right time.
realise it was that long that they've been working on it.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Because
Um,
through like black and white spectacles, you just think, oh yeah, they just like redesign it every year. But then, yeah, of course, if you look into it further, and of course they wanted to completely revamp the match engine, and
I think it was something mad. Like there was meant to be a change come for FM22, but it got stopped because of COVID, and then
oh
they,
okay,
they decided to kick it out to FM25, and that was obviously through Unity. Um, the good news is it doesn't look like Sega are going to chop them for not delivering a game this year.
probably.
So that's the good news that they look to have survived that. But yeah, look, the pressure's massively on there
Yeah,
for the new game, which has fuck all hype because no one believes them. That's the problem. No fucker believes them.
yeah, I know it's weird now because you're thinking, well, now FM26, yeah, we'll see.
Aye.
Because
Please just bring it out.
please, I can't.
Don't
No,
don't, don't make the only football game.
I've had too much fun on FM24.
It's a great game though, isn't it?
It is brilliant, yeah. Honestly, like it may get to a point where I have to do like a Pentagon challenge because I fucking
And
I can't.
I found out the other day. There's now an octagon challenge.
Oh fuck that.
Yeah. Where
Where
is it?
Antarctica? Has they been added that?
So it's like there's like an Oceania apparently Champions League,
Yeah,
and then it was winning the World Cup.
winning the World Cup.
Yeah,
So
and
they just whacked that on top of it, didn't they?
something else. Um, I'll have to send it across to you.
Oh,
But I've never won the World Cup. I have never in
I'm
Football
trying to
Manager.
think if I ever have won it.
I have never won the World Cup, and
No,
they're
the
getting rid,
Euros. I won it. I won the Euros.
and they're getting rid of international management, so we may never be able to win it again.
Oh well, fucking hell. Well, might have to do FM24 an international save on it just to say we've done it. But no, I like that idea. We'll get that into fruition, and then that could be one of our new segments to look forward to next week. But we are going to wrap things up. Mayhem, thank you very much this evening. Best of luck for tomorrow night. Really
Thank
hope
you.
that come next week that we'll both be in a fluorescent mood. And yeah, no, obviously all the best to the boys tomorrow night.
This is the day. This is the day when we win away. Maybe.
I should be singing that as well. We don't win away either. Ladies and gents, thank you very much for tuning in. If you are new to the Football Week podcast, we are available on all audio platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and Audible. If you are watching us over on YouTube, you can like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, ring that bell for notifications. And until next time, ladies and gents, I bid you all good night and the star.